Southern Sports Now, we welcome you in on this Wednesday, halfway through the week. So glad you're joining us. I'm Chase Robinson, and so we've got a full show on the way for you today. Hope your Wednesday is off to a great start. And so we'll be talking all things sports. So we're going to talk some Alabama recruiting season heating up across college football. Brandon Howard of Tideillustrated will join us and talk some Alabama football recruiting, what the class of 2024 is shaping up to be. And we'll get to that at 10:20. We'll get to your comments as we roll through. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, on the East Alabama Now page there on Facebook. Like it, share it. On YouTube, subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when we go live with Southern Sports Now. And we're on Twitter at EAN_sports. You can follow the link there to watch the show. So, again, we're thrilled to have you along, and we're counting down to football season. We're counting down to college football season, and we're in the 60s, 66 days until we kick off college football for the 2023 season. That is week 0, August the 26th. 10 games that day, including Jacksonville State UTEP. And so we are 66 days away from college football 2023, and it cannot get here fast enough. High school football, 64 days away from August 24th. That is week 0 of the high school football season. So we are 64 days away from getting high school football kicked off across the state of Alabama. So that is very exciting as we are counting you down the days until we get to see toe meet leather, and we're excited about it here on Southern Sports Now. We got our mailbag coming up Friday. I want to remind you how you can get those questions into us. We answer all your sports questions every Friday. EANSports23@gmail.com. East Alabama Now on Facebook, or send us a message there at EAN_sports on Twitter. So that's how you can get your mailbag questions in. And again, every Friday, so look forward to answering your questions on the mailbag Friday. Let's jump to a break. When we come back, we'll hit you with our headlines. We'll hit you with some Alabama basketball news next.
Here at Ted's, we are excited to now be offering custom-made cabinets. With that in mind, we're changing our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond.
I was hearing.
The Beyond is going to encompass everything that we offer in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
EAN Sports is proud to bring you the best, most informative local sports content, and we want your help to be able to do that. If you have a story idea, a tip for our sportscast, or even a highlight clip you want to see on EAN Local Sports, send us an email, EANSports23@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at EAN_sports, or you can send it to the EAN News Facebook page. EAN Sports, bringing you the local sports happening in your community.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
If you see some interesting weather phenomenon in your backyard here in East Alabama, send that to us. We would love to hear from you. Send that to us at the email address you see on your screen or through Facebook at EAN News.
It is a Wednesday. It is Southern Sports Now, and we're glad you're along with us. Chase Robinson here as we get this Wednesday rocking and rolling with our top 5 headlines of the day. So let's jump into our headlines here. First up, in the College World Series up in Omaha, LSU blanks Tennessee 5-0 to reach the semifinals. That was an elimination game, so the Vols are headed back to Knoxville, and LSU keeps alive there. They will move on now to play. They got Wake Forest next, the number 1 team in the country. LSU has been hot for most of the season. We'll see if they can ride the wave into to Omaha there, and as they take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, but a good win for LSU over Tennessee. And the other team headed to the semifinals, TCU. They end that magical Cinderella run for Oral Roberts, 6-1. TCU walks away with a win. If you remember the first game of the World Series, Oral Roberts beat TCU on a walk-off. TCU got the win this time, though. TCU matches up with Florida now, and so semifinals will be Florida TCU and Wake Forest LSU. And so some really good baseball happening up in Omaha. But, everybody loves a good Cinderella story. Oral Roberts was that for the for this year's College World Series. So, hey, good run for Oral Roberts. Other baseball news, how about those Atlanta Braves going up to Philadelphia, getting the win, keeping that momentum. We talked about it yesterday. We thought that would be huge if the Braves were able to go up to Philly, get the win. They did so. Keep that momentum, keep that streak alive. Braves are hot right now, one of the best teams in baseball. And how about Austin Riley? We talked about him yesterday. He's struggling. Hit a bomb last night. Austin Riley, hopefully he's back in a good groove after that win last night. But they'll continue that series tonight up in Philly. The Vipers fall to the Texas Smoke 10-0 last night as they now fall to 0-4 on the season. The final game of that 3-game series is tonight in Texas before they come home to Oxford. So the home opener for the Vipers is coming up Friday night as the Texas Smoke will be coming to Oxford to take on the Vipers there in the opening weekend at Choccolocco Park. So go ahead and make plans to come out. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3-game series with the Vipers and the Smoke there at Choccolocco Park in Oxford. Should be a great crowd on hand to cheer on those Vipers as they have their home opening series this weekend. And, we just want our college football game back. And EA Sports is trying to get that back for us. But those around the situation don't want the game to come out. The Bandar Group, they have filed a lawsuit against EA Sports over the college football game. They are continuing to call for fair payout for athletes that will take part in the game. So, we've seen them calling for protests for the athletes to protest this game. But now we have a lawsuit that has been filed, and we'll see how EA Sports responds to this. They still have not said, let's push this back. But, we could see that very well now. But for those of you like me who are just wanting the game to come out, just be patient. Hopefully something will be resolved with this, but when you see the word lawsuit, that's never good. So those are your top 5 headlines of the day here on Southern Sports Now. It's not often we get to talk about the NBA draft and a player from Alabama going at the top of the draft. But we get to talk about that this year because Brandon Miller, we know the season he had with the Crimson Tide. NBA draft is tomorrow night, and we're looking at Brandon Miller maybe going second or third. Where is he going to end up in the NFL, in the NBA draft? I think very high. And I think there's a good reason why he's going to go very high. I mean, obviously, SEC Player of the Year this year, averaged 18.8 points per game. We saw a couple of games, in the 30s, had a 40-point game against South Carolina. I mean, the guy can shoot the basketball, can get it done. You see the block there. He's got a lot of height on him. 8.2 rebounds per game. We know the probability that Victor Wembanyama will go first to the San Antonio Spurs. So I think Brandon Miller's probably looking at going second to the Charlotte Hornets or third to the Portland Trailblazers. He has worked out with the Hornets. He's worked out with the Trailblazers. The Hornets have actually called Miller back, which it's always a good sign when a team calls you back and wants you to come back and work out. He's actually doing that today, getting ready for the draft. So it's looking like the Hornets really like Brandon Miller. But also in the mix is Scoot Henderson. Scoot from the G League Ignite team. Very high prospect. He's another possibility. They've actually called Miller and Henderson both back for a workout. So it's either going to be Miller to the Hornets and Henderson to the Trailblazers, or vice versa. And we'll see Brandon Miller go third to the Trailblazers, unless, and this always happens in these drafts, unless they start trading around and we see him end up somewhere else. But Brandon Miller is a lock. Whoever gets this guy is going to get a fantastic basketball player. And I know a lot of people like to talk about the off-the-field issues that happened with Brandon Miller, but overall, as a basketball player, you're not going to find a better one. And I'm excited to see him go, maybe second, second or third. It's cool, though, for Alabama fans, if you kept up with the NFL draft and now the NBA draft, if Brandon Miller is to go in the top 3, we could see Brandon Miller representing Alabama basketball going in the top 3, and Bryce Young and Will Anderson going top 3 in the NFL draft. So when in the world could you have said 3 Alabama athletes went top 3, 1 in basketball, 2 in football? That is incredible what Alabama has produced. But I'm excited to see where Brandon Miller can end up there in the NBA draft. But excellent basketball player. I mean, you saw in those highlights just a few minutes ago, he makes plays happen, and he kind of had that NBA touch. Even on the college floor last year with the Tide, you could tell he played like an NBA player. He's smooth. He's good. They've asked him, like, what do you want to work on? He said, just get stronger. And I think his game is good, but he's just got to get stronger. He's going to be playing with the big boys now in the NBA. So once he gets stronger and keeps developing, he's going to be a really good NBA player, I believe. And he will be missed by the Crimson Tide for sure, but I know they're happy to see his game elevate as well. We talked about the video game a second ago, and I want to hit on this a little bit more. The Bandar Group filing the lawsuit against EA Sports. What does this now mean for the game? And again, they're calling for fair payout. The details are a little murky. On3 Sports is reporting this. They're saying the $5 million is what EA Sports has to pay the players, which ends up being about $500 per player. And so the Bandar Group called for they're saying this is below market pay, and with the $500. We haven't seen an EA Sports video game since 2013. So 10 years ago is the last time they made one. So we're all ready for this. We all want it to come out. We all want to play the game. And there's so many things that they could do. Because if you remember back in the 2014 game, we were all still playing this in 2016, 2017. Some people are still playing it now. And, there was a way to get those rosters. It was not, you had to go through some back channels, but you could get the rosters that were on that actually were on the field. And so people are going to do that. People are going to have the real rosters. Again, it may not be through the correct channel to get them, but people are going to find a way to get them. So EA Sports, I think, just needs to come out with this game. They need to come out with a game, just even if they don't use name, image, and likeness of the players. Just come out with the game and you can develop it from there. But I think people are dying for this game. People want to play EA Sports college football. And so I think EA Sports, yes, they're in all these lawsuits, but put the game out and then develop it from there. Technology is so incredible now that they can do that. They can develop it, add players, add the players' name, image, and likeness to the game in updates or whatever. But EA Sports has a huge opportunity here to do something good, and we'll see what they do. But the Bandar Group is trying to disband that. They've got, so kind of some background here. Athlete Advantage represents a lot of the teams and players. They are going in with the Bandar Group here and backing them with this lawsuit. So Athlete Advantage represents Kentucky, USC, Graham Mertz from Florida, Devin Leary from Kentucky. And so these are some of the players and actually 54 Division I institutions Athlete Advantage represents in their collective. So this is a big group that's backing this. So that is one of the key problems for EA Sports in this lawsuit is they have probably the biggest I'm not going to say corporation, collective group that are backing this lawsuit. And so they're going to run into some problems with that. But we'll see what they can do. I don't know how much more money they can throw at the players. They're going to have to pay a lot of football players for this because a lot of guys are going to want to have their name, image, likeness in the new video game. And so I think it's, we're at the point that these athletes, I'm sure want the game, but the people who are in their ear, whether it's their agent or whoever it is, are saying, no, you need more than $500. You need to make them give you more than $500. And so I think that's what we're running up against. There's no doubt to me that, that these players want this game. They want to be in the locker room playing it. And so we'll see what they can come to. But certainly would love to see this game come out. And hey, we may even play it here on Southern Sports Now. And that's how excited I am about it. So looking forward to hopefully having that out next summer, but we'll see. And I'm sure more lawsuits will come out. More players will ask for more money. That's just how people roll these days. And so we'll see how it all plays out. But certainly excited to see. We'll jump to a break. We will come back and talk a little Alabama recruiting as our friend Brandon Howard with Tide Illustrated will join us next here on Southern Sports Now.
Here at Ted's, we are excited to now be offering custom-made cabinets. With that in mind, we're changing our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond is going to encompass everything that we offer in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news, new faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
Southern Sports Now, we continue here on this Wednesday. Chase Robinson along. Glad you're hanging out with us today. And recruiting season in full force. We're going to talk some Alabama football recruiting now as we welcome on Brandon Howard of Tide Illustrated there with the Rivals Group. Brandon, really appreciate you coming on with us today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. a day with plenty to do. You know, it's obviously recruiting season and commits are jumping off the board left and right.
Yeah, this is always a fun time, always interesting to see these guys make their official visits, make their decisions. As far as the Alabama Crimson Tide, talk about some guys maybe who've been on campus recently and some that will be on campus for official visits.
No doubt. Well, you know, one thing I've always realized and noticed about Alabama is that they're very studious in their approach. You see programs like Florida who get 6 commits in a day. And Alabama has done that in the past, not the 6 commits per se, but, you know, multiple in a day. But they, you know, pretty typically, you know, taking their time and evaluating every prospect with a lot of detail. This past weekend, there were a lot of big names on campus, several commits. Jalen Mbakwe, who's really taken on the hat of lead recruiter. Very outspoken about that. Jeremiah Beeman, an in-state guy, a Sterling Dixon, who essentially shut down his recruitment this past weekend. So a core of in-state guys who are going to not only push for other in-state guys, but also help with some guys that they've been able to build relationships with outside the state. 2 other visitors that were on campus was, for us, number 5 player in the country, Colin Simmons, who's done a masterful job of playing the process, so to speak. But, you know, it's a big visit for him to be on campus. And you know, of course, DeMarcus Riddick, who continues to be somewhat of a headliner in this class, where there's a lot of smoke about him potentially flipping from Georgia and selecting the Crimson Tide. But, you know, we'll kind of find out more about that, you know, heading into next month.
Yeah, I want to ask you about a couple of players in specific. Daniel Hill visited Alabama. He's in the Rivals 250. What do we know about Hill and what could he bring to Alabama?
Yeah, Hill's a great kid. I like Daniel Hill. You know, I've been able to be, quote unquote, a part of his process for some time now, have a pretty good relationship. And the thing with Daniel is he does a pretty good job, you know, maximizing this process, so to speak. But he's always, you know, spoken highly about his relationship with Coach Saban. And every single time he visits campus, he has something to say about, you know, that relationship. The thing that's interesting about him is that he really wants to be like a versatile athlete, meaning play some receiver, play some running back. But ultimately, I mean, I think pretty much everybody knows that he'll play running back and potentially have some packages where you can get the ball in his hands from a receiver standpoint. But, you know, I think he has a big visit this weekend to South Carolina. There's been a lot of smoke around that program, possibility of early playing time. They've made sure to make him a focus versus, you know, maybe Alabama. It may be a little bit longer road to see in the field. It's just going to come down to, you know, kind of what he values more than the other. But, you know, Alabama's definitely in the mix, but it's a big visit this weekend in South Carolina, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And another guy I want to ask you about, Weston Davis, came on his official visit. What do we know about Weston Davis?
Yeah, so Weston, good kid, comes from a good 7-on-7 program. He's an offensive lineman, but, you know, it's weird to hear 7-on-7 with offensive lineman. But, you know, his 7-on-7 team has kind of basically helped him handle the process because he's kind of new to it all. I think there's going to be a strong push for him to stay in state. Just in conversations with him and some people around him, you know, I think he really enjoyed what he saw this weekend. You know, Coach Wolford does a good job, and I think he's going to put together a pretty masterful class just based on the relationships that I've heard and been able to see firsthand. But Weston is kind of up in the air. You know, right now he may have a top group coming out soon, and I could potentially see Bama not in it, even despite a good weekend. But you know, we'll see how that really shakes out.
And you mentioned DeMarcus Riddick a minute ago. You know, as Alabama's really zoning in on him. What do we know about him? What appeals to Alabama about Riddick?
Well, you know, if you really kind of read the context clues for Riddick, I think, you know, the flip, so to speak, flipped whenever Coach Golden ended up, you know, going to Ole Miss, and it gave Alabama the opportunity to restart the recruitment, so to speak, and just say, like, it was on him, not us. And then obviously, you know, they extend the offer. There were some words that essentially they wanted him to come camp before he got the offer. But, you know, sometimes with a player of that magnitude, you just have to kind of pull the trigger on him. And since that time, you know, I feel like the recruiting has definitely ramped up. He has some close family ties behind the scenes to Alabama. They've made him a priority. A lot of the guys in state are really pushing after him, but, they flipped that coin too. And Kirby Smart's pretty involved in his recruitment since day one. He has some history of, living in the Georgia area for a bit. I want to say LaGrange, if I'm not mistaken, but he definitely has some close ties to Georgia as well. I mean, they were kind of the first to the party. They made him a point of emphasis. I can't speak on NIL, but I think we all know Georgia plays a little bit into that. So it's kind of a battle. I've heard some positive things on both ends of the spectrum. You wouldn't think that there would be this much quote unquote smoke and fire and fanfare for a guy who doesn't plan on flipping. But, isn't that the joy of recruitment, right? Everything seems like it's going one way, and then tomorrow he's still committed to Georgia. And I'm not saying he's going to stay committed to Georgia, but recruiting does work in mysterious ways.
It sure does. We're talking Alabama football recruiting with Brandon Howard of Tide Illustrated. And Brandon, everybody saw this past weekend Julian Sayin out at the Elite 11, the performance he did, walking away with MVP. Talk about him, just what you've seen from him, and that's big to go out with some of the best quarterbacks in the country and walk away as MVP. That shows what kind of player Alabama's getting in Julian Sayin.
No doubt. I was actually in California the week prior to and had some conversations with him leading into the Elite 11. First off, just quality young man, very responsive, understands the process that he's a part of. And I think he understands, what Alabama is trying to do specifically with him and in the future. It seems like Alabama's very much so zeroed in on him being the guy of the future, as they should. And in a class in totality, 2024, with a lot of quote unquote raw talent, people who can get on campus and be developed a little bit more so than maybe some of the other classes, saying there's really not those aspects with him. I think he has opportunity to come in and kind of wow some people if he continues to progress at this rate. And, one thing that was big for him going into the Elite 11 was to kind of prove that he was that top guy in the class. And, ultimately, despite all the fanfare with other different prospects and other quarterbacks, Sam was able to step to the plate. And, one thing that I find very unique about him that he does is there's really not too many highs or lows, and kind of reminds me of another quarterback from California that just went number 1 overall, who didn't have too many highs or lows emotionally, only when it mattered. And Sam kind of strikes me as we have this similar demeanor. Not saying he's Bryce, but just a similar demeanor in aspects.
If you had to compare Julian Sayin, his game, his performance to previous Alabama quarterbacks, does he resemble any of the quarterbacks we've seen as of late for the Crimson Tide?
I think that's a great question. I think it has it can be a stupor if you want it to, but I'd say he's kind of his own individual person, because as we've seen over the course of the years, Alabama quarterback play has developed. There was once upon a time where it was Greg McElroy, and his job was to hand off the ball and throw the 5-yard stop, and then we've seen other guys who've kind of developed over time. But, once we started to get into like the Bryce era, things really started to have uptick really with the Sarkisian and the offense developing to that degree. So I think he's going to be his own person, especially with Reese being there and having more of like a balanced attack that will play to his strengths, but also make sure that running game is a priority. And just like him coming from college football as opposed to Bill O'Brien, who had kind of more of an NFL mindset, I think we're going to see just him be his own person. And I don't want to compare him to another Alabama quarterback because Alabama quarterback play has changed dynamically over the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's very true. We're talking Alabama football recruiting with Brandon Howard of Tide Illustrated. And when you look at the class of 2024 of the guys they're putting together, do you see any positions that you think Alabama are really going to go after strong to get some top-tier talent, or is it just kind of whoever they can get, they're going to bring into the program?
Well, me and we both know, and anybody who watched the program, we know that Alabama is going to do, what they do before it's all said and done. And it may be quote unquote slow right now, but tomorrow they could pick up a commitment and that same guy could jump 100 spots because, he's committed to Alabama. That said, I think offensive line is definitely going to be a strength, just kind of reading the room. I think those guys will have some cohesiveness and just like where they're getting them from and their mindset will be very much in line. It's going to be very interesting to see how the running back room plays out with like a Daniel Hill, with a Nate Frazier, who's been mentioned before. Obviously, Kevin Riley, the in-state prospect, just commits to Miami. So, some of those other guys on the board are going to have more of an uptick. I would say defensive line in totality, they're going to spend a lot of, time, effort, blood, sweat, and equity on that position as a whole. So we're going to see some names that pop up late. There are going to be some evals that come in, based on the season or just kind of, Alabama has a different eval than most people do. And so I definitely see, the defensive line being a priority as well. And then defensive backs. One thing that I've really noticed about this class is some of the DBs that they're pursuing, they may not, quote unquote, have the star ranking, like a Kai Bates, Jameer Grimsley, names like that, even a Justin Denson who just dropped his top 5 yesterday. But they all used to play receiver, and now they play DB, which tells me that Alabama's, in some aspects, maybe to contrary belief than what fans may believe, they actually probably have some confidence in that room, and they want to bring guys in who are playmakers, who are used to having the ball in their hand, and understand that these guys can be, quote-unquote, long-term projects, but with extremely high upside. And when you bring in a guy who has his playmaking abilities and has a humbleness about himself that is willing to work, that's what made Alabama originally, before the NIL, before the luxury, for the jewelry, before, all the fanfare that has always been here, but it's here on another level. Alabama was able to have guys come buy into the process for 3 to 4 years, where Reuben Foster's not playing for several years. I mean, Reuben Foster, come on now. And now they're getting some of those guys back who really want to buy in. And they've always had those guys, but specifically in this class, it's seeming to be a point of emphasis, like guys who will buy in for 3 to 4 years and understand, hey, we're still continuing to build you up to help you get where you want to go.
Yeah, good stuff. Brandon Howard joining us. And before we let you go, any commitments that we know of that Alabama fans can be watching over maybe the next month or so of guys who could potentially commit to Alabama?
I mean, there's definitely some announcements that are going to be coming up. I think Casey Poe is definitely a name to just monitor. Aaron Hampton has his announcement coming up, I believe, July 7th. But that one could go Texas's way. We'll see with that one. Solomon Williams is a kind of a sleeper to keep an eye on. Obviously, DeMarcus Riddick should have some type of announcement next month. And, even from a commitment standpoint, I think, one name that continues to be intriguing is Perry Thompson in that battle that's going on in state right now with Auburn, and a lot of smoke around that NIL, which, with this situation wouldn't benefit Bama, but he's definitely a name to continue to watch because he's he's right now the top receiver in the class, and he's from Foley, and, Foley has boded well for Bama in the past. I think they had one guy named like Julio Jones or something. Yep. So not saying he's Julio, but, they have a little bit of a rich history, producing talent. So there's a couple names.
Good stuff. Brandon Howard with Tide Illustrated there with the Rivals Group. Brandon, thanks so much for coming on, talking some recruiting with us today. We'll do it again soon, but thanks so much for your time.
Hey, extremely grateful for the opportunity. I appreciate you reaching out, and hopefully a ton of Tide fans tuned in, as we prepare for what's already been busy, but even busier next, few months.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brandon. Brandon Howard, Tide Illustrated there with Rivals, joining us, talking some Alabama football recruiting. I want to go to the top 10 rankings in recruiting. Look at those as this coming from Rivals as, again, like Brandon was hinting to, Alabama not up at the top. It's been somewhat of a slow season so far. Georgia sits atop the recruiting ranking so far, followed by Michigan, Florida, and Notre Dame, LSU, the top 5. So you've got Georgia, Florida, LSU, 3 SEC teams in the top 5, followed by Ohio State, Oregon, Stanford, Penn State, Minnesota, rounding out the top 10 there. But Alabama all the way down at 26 with 8 commits so far, far below the rest of college football. Like Michigan has 22 commits, Georgia with 19, Florida 17, Notre Dame 19, LSU 18. But like he was saying, I mean, there's nothing to worry about if you're an Alabama fan. things are going to work out on the recruiting trail, as they always do. Nick Saban, one of the best recruiters in college football, and yes, it's starting out a little slow, but it'll end well for the Tide with what a lot of these projections are pointing towards them being, of course, one of the top classes again in recruiting. Let's jump to a break here. We will talk some Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame next. Stick around.
Here at Ted's, we are excited to now be offering custom-made cabinets. With that in mind, we're changing our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond is going to encompass everything that we offer in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brodney Sneed from both CARES and Direct Primary Care. Direct Primary Care is an exciting new model of medical care growing on both the East and West Coast. It's been recommended by Forbes and the American Academy of Family Physicians and others for individuals or small businesses with or without health insurance. The pure simplicity of a membership model streamlines the burden of medical care. It eliminates 60% of the overhead. That streamlining allows providers time to focus on patients with free, no copay, no deductible, unhurried office visits or telehealth visits with minimal waiting room time. It produces same or next day appointments and access by text or telephone during and after hours. That saves you from leaving work, wasting time and getting exposed in a waiting room. And the convenience and cost with barriers removed helps one avoid letting problems like a sore throat turn into an expensive ER or hospital visit for pneumonia. If you're interested, search the web for CARES Direct Primary Care.
Ted's Floors and Beyond. They bring you this segment of Southern Sports Now. Of course, they have all your flooring needs. They've got you covered there. But the and beyond part is what's cool. They are offering a kitchen or bath makeover. They have partnered with Welborn Cabinet, and so they have the opportunity to upgrade your bathroom, to upgrade your kitchen. That includes countertops, backsplashes, flooring, tile showers. They've got it all covered for you. Ted's Floors and Beyond. And, of course, they've got all your flooring needs, whether it's hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, tile. They've got you covered there. So Ted's Floors and Beyond, shopteds.com, or you can go by and see them. They're right off Highway 431 in Alexandria, or in Sachs there as you're heading towards Alexandria. So you can go by and see Ted's Floors and Beyond. Again, shopteds.com. We've been talking Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame this week, and as the induction banquet was this past Saturday, and we've had 6 new members inducted. We had Charlie Wilson, June Evans, Mike Battles, Chris Garman, Terry McCord, and the guy we're going to talk about today, Jason Jacks from Oxford. And he was part of those 1988 and 89 state championships in football, and was a big part of the football history there at Oxford. And here's what he had to say about just the honor of being inducted into this Hall of Fame.
This is amazing. This is something I never expected. When I started playing football, I just wanted to win with my teammates, and for something like this to come about, it's incredible.
So he was a part of those 5A state championships, and in 1988, they defeated Smith Station 21-14 with Jack passing for each of his team's 3 touchdowns. And then again in 1989, they were able to get a win after they went 12-2 on the season. and got the win there in the state championship game. Again, he was a big part as the quarterback, and he was also a really good baseball player, first team All-County as a junior and senior, and help Oxford finish runner-up in baseball in 5A. And so he was an all-around athlete there for the Oxford Yellow Jackets, but most remembered for his time as quarterback. It's cool as I was looking through his bio. Oxford in 1989, played Sacs. They played Southside. Of course, they played Anniston then. But I thought it was really cool just to see some of the teams Oxford played back then and how, kind of different the landscape of Calhoun County sports was then. But Jason Jack, of course, accepted a football scholarship from Alabama. Coach Gene Stallings, while at Alabama, Jack received the President's Academic Achievement Award for having the highest cumulative grade point average on the Alabama football team. Big honors there for Jason Jack. And, he says the state championships were important, but kind of the stuff off the field was just as important to him as he looks back on his time at Oxford.
Obviously winning the 2 state championships, but not really the time on the field or those games in particular, but what led up to that moment. Off the field with the teams, going through all the tough practices, but then having a lot of great times and, just a lot of good memories. So this is what I hold dear.
So that is Jason Jack of Oxford High School, former quarterback, and went on to play for Gene Stallings at the University of Alabama. Congratulations to Jason Jack as he was selected as a member now of the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame, part of that 18th class, 112 total inductees now in the Hall of Fame. We'll continue our spotlight of our new inductees as we continue tomorrow and again on Friday. But want to kind of shift gears to some Braves baseball. Braves Phillies last night. It was a good one. Excited to see the Braves go up to Philadelphia, and really a fun game. It kind of slow to start with. It took 5 innings before the fireworks set off, but it was the Phillies getting around and scoring first. But the Braves did a good job responding. They didn't get down, and Austin Riley, there you see him hitting the home run. He's a guy we talked about yesterday. He has not had a great month of June. In fact, he has had a terrible month of June, and so this was big for him to be able to go out and get a home run, and hopefully we can see Austin Riley's kind of persona change here and how he plays. So it was great to see him get a hit, get a home run, and especially over division opponent like the Philadelphia Phillies. Spencer Strider was on the mound last night and pitched a decent game. He brought a lot of the fastballs to Philly. They got some hits, but he's much faster than what the Phillies are used to seeing. And so really, really good to see Strider and what he brought to the table last night. The bullpen was able to come in and finish it out strong, which also was good to see because we've talked about the struggles of the bullpen and the closers. They were able to close it out, so that was a positive from last night for the Braves. But certainly a great win. Anytime you can go up and beat your division rival, the Phillies, that is a good night. Just looking at the box score, 2 hits for Acuna. Albies got a hit. Austin Riley got a hit. Matt Olson hit. Ozuna, Arcia, Rosario, Michael Harris all got a hit, which was great to see. 10 total hits for the Atlanta Braves in 37 at-bats. And then, like we said, Strider able to go 6 innings. He did give up 8 hits, but only 1 run. And here's a nice number, 9 strikeouts for Spencer Strider. A.J. Minter came in for an inning, had a strikeout. Anderson had a strikeout. Iglesias closed things down. Gave up a couple of hits, but had a strikeout. 12 total strikeouts for the Braves, which was nice to see for Atlanta last night. But, again, anytime you can go up to Philadelphia and walk away with a win is huge for the Braves. They'll continue tonight and in Game 2 of the 3-game series there with the Braves, and we'll get to see Smith Shaver take the mound. He's 1-0. He won over the weekend, which was really nice to see. A prospect who's a really good pitcher. First major league action, first start last week, and got a win. So that's a bright spot in this kind of figuring out this rotation. And so we'll see what Smith Shaver can do tonight. Aaron Nola on the mound for Philadelphia tonight, and let me just tell you, Nola has dealt tough to the Braves in recent history. So he's 6-5 on the year, but you look at guys like Orlando Arcia has not hit good against Aaron Nola. Michael Harris has not hit good against Aaron Nola. Rosario, d'Arnaud, they don't have good averages against Aaron Nola, but hopefully the Braves will be able to come out hitting the ball tonight as they face the Philadelphia Phillies. That game is tonight on Bally Sports. You can see that at 5:40 tonight there from Philadelphia. We'll jump to a break, talk more baseball on the other side, some college baseball, College World Series semifinal set. We'll talk about it next.
Here at Ted's, we are excited to now be offering custom-made cabinets. With that in mind, we're changing our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond is going to encompass everything that we offer in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
EAN Sports is proud to bring you the best, most informative local sports content, and we want your help to be able to do that. If you have a story idea, a tip for our sportscast, or even a highlight clip you want to see on EAN Local Sports, send us an email, eansports23@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at EAN_sports, or you can send it to the EAN News Facebook page. EAN Sports, bringing you the local sports happening in your community.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
If you see some interesting weather phenomenon in your backyard here in East Alabama, send that to us. We would love to hear from you. Send that to us at the email address you see on your screen or through Facebook at EAN News.
Southern Sports Now continues here on this Wednesday. Hope you're having a great day. We are in the middle of the week, and college baseball rocking and rolling up in Omaha. We have the semifinals set, and it will be Florida and TCU in our first semifinal coming up at 1 o'clock. And then we've got Wake Forest and LSU coming up at 6 o'clock in our second semifinal. Now, Florida, of course, number 2 in the country, number 2 heading into the NCAA tournament. TCU, kind of a team that they have 44 wins this year, but unranked, a team that a lot of folks thought would not make it. They beat Arkansas pretty handily in the Fayetteville Regional and was able to get to the College World Series. And here they are as a team in the Final Four. Then on the other side, it's kind of the teams you expected. Wake Forest, the number 1 seed, and then the number 5 seed, the LSU Tigers. We kind of imagined heading into this that we could see these two teams both with over 50 wins. And so that sets up an exciting semifinal series here. But I'm excited to see what Florida and TCU will look like because TCU, again, a team not a lot of folks thought would be here. They've got some really good wins. They started the College World Series off with a loss to Oral Roberts, really rebounded yesterday in the win against Oral Roberts. But they're kind of a team you can watch for to maybe make a surprise run at the College World Series. But Florida's tough. really good pitching. And, of course, the bats for Wake Forest and LSU both have been hot this year. And so I could see that could be a game we could see quite a few runs scored, maybe a 6-5 game, 7-6 game. I think both good pitching as well, though, on certain days. So we'll see how the pitching matchup goes. For coaches, it's hard when they get to this point because it's hard to know who to throw and when to throw them, knowing the type of teams you're playing here in the College World Series. But Florida, TCU coming up at 1 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock tonight, you'll see Wake Forest, LSU there in the semifinals of the College World Series. And then the F games will be tomorrow, and then coming up this weekend, we'll see the best of 3 series beginning Saturday for the national championship. So that will be exciting for some college baseball coming up this weekend. That is all the time we have for you today here on Southern Sports Now. We'll do it again tomorrow. How about that? 10 a.m. Join us for more of your favorite sports talk. We'll see you then. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Talk to you tomorrow.